It's Matthew Purdy, the Birmingham Barons. I'm here with Mississippi Braves pitcher Sean Gilmartin, number 5th overall rated prospect in the organization. First of all, I wanted to thank you for taking time to sit down and talk with us. Sean, first of all, you were first-round pick last year, originally drafted by San Diego in 2008. You chose not to sign, I'm assuming because you wanted to go to college. What factored in your, first of all, in your decision, other than wanting to go to college and not signing with the Padres in 2008 and instead taking a long trip to from California to Florida to attend college and play baseball?
Just basically, improve myself as an all-around player. I figured that, being drafted obviously was a huge honor, especially, out of high school. I was 18 years old. I wanted to play professional baseball. That's all I've ever wanted to do. But, the decision to go to college was tough to, kind of decide whether or not I wanted to, be a professional right then and there or go to college for 3 or 4 years and try to improve myself. And I thought, I had a better shot of, being a better ball player if I went to college and, improve myself there. Not only did, my time on the field help me as well, but, being in the classroom as well.
Well, Sean, you had a great career at Florida State. You were all ACC last year. You went 12-1 with a 1.83 ERA, 17 games. You led the team in wins, strikeouts, and innings pitched. When you finally found out the news that you were drafted in the first round by Atlanta, how emotional and how did you feel about it?
It was just kind of a, unreal experience. That night was, kind of seemed like it lasted forever. Up until, my name being called, it seemed like it took forever to get there, but it was just it felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I could just worry about playing baseball now. I don't have to worry about going out there and trying to do anything special, but I can just be who I am.
Well, I tell you, last year when you were in Low A Rome, you had some outstanding numbers. You had 30 strikeouts and 21 innings pitched. That was a heck of a strikeout to walk ratio. You had obviously good success there. You've had great success this year. You have a 5-6 record, but your numbers across the board are solid. You have 3 complete games, 3.17 ERA. Do you feel like at this point in the season that you're definitely improving and getting better and getting lots of help from your pitching coach?
Definitely. I think every time you go out there, you should take something from, a learning aspect of it, whether it be, in certain situations to throw a certain pitch or, just an all-around feel for the game. But every time I go out there, I go out with the intention of getting better and improving myself as a pitcher. And I feel as though I've done a pretty good job of that this year so far, and just got to continue with the second half.
Well, you seem like you're doing pretty good and you're on the right path. One thing about being in the Brave system is they have a traditional history here in the last 20 years of having excellent pitching, and you fit the mold of Tom Glavine or a Steve Avery, that left-hander, and you have big expectations. Does that put any added pressure on you, especially being as ranked as high as you are in the organization?
I don't try to put too much pressure on myself, really. I don't like to look at that kind of stuff because once you start thinking about it, like you said, it puts more pressure on you, and it's tougher to do things that way. So I don't really worry about that too much. I just go out there and I don't try to be, Tom Glavine or a Greg Maddux or a Steve Avery because, guys like that only come along once every so many years. And, I'm not trying to be them because, I'm never going to be them. I'm just going to go out there and be who I am and prove myself in my game.
That's a very good point. That's probably the most important thing not only as a pitcher but as a player. You have to make sure Sean Gilmartin is Sean Gilmartin, not Steve Avery or Tom Glavine. But you do have a realistically good shot, possibly moving up AAA Gwinnett this year. And at some point, you will get your shot in the major leagues. As every player, that's their main goal. If that's not your goal, then you're in the wrong business. So what's in the future for Sean Gilmartin, and what is, in a perfect world, how does this season end for you?
Season ends for me here in Mississippi, hopefully winning a championship here. But if things happen where I do go up and I'm able to throw in either AAA or the big leagues, then I'll be ready for it whenever that time comes. But at the same time, I got a job here to do, and that's my main focus.
Well, Sean, you've done a great job so far this year. You guys have some great pitching all around, good pitching in the organization. Keep up the good work. Again, appreciate you taking the time to do this, and good luck the rest of the season, you and the M Braves. forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.